a lot of landlords think they have guarantees that cover fixed rent, additional rent, and holdover. Their guarantees are not the guarantees they thought they may have. And going forward, it may need to be updated. And I'm seeing a lot of guarantees that have actually been drafted subsequent to this decision coming out that don't account for that. And that's also, another point I tell clients when we're negotiating these guarantees is you should always have a litigator present in your lease negotiations and your guarantee negotiations, because we think a little differently than transactional attorneys. Transactional attorneys have their skill set, which are skills I absolutely do not have as a litigator, and vice versa. But if you have someone that has a guarantee and there's changes in court decisions, you always want your litigator to look at the guarantee, to also look at how I would litigate it. I would look at the language and see, how would I think a judge is going to act on this? What have I seen from my own experience, which might be different than a transactional attorney? You definitely need both, or someone that does both. But in the context of this decision, I think it's a huge change for the industry, and it's something that we need to account for, because if you have a guarantee that doesn't have the protection of guaranteeing holdover use and occupancy, it's one less deterrent for the tenant to leave when they're supposed to. Now, I say that because if it's a good guy guarantee we're talking about here, or even a personal guarantor, if they stay past the expiration, the liability is kind of capped at whatever the fixed rent is, and from the moment after termination, the guarantor may or may not be liable. Now again, that in a good guy context, we can get into a fight about whether or not they satisfied the surrendering of the broom clean condition, or other conditions that might be specific to that guarantee. But if it's just a tenant holding over for holdover use and occupancy, the guarantor may look at it as, you know what, I can stay here and continue to do business, and I don't really have to worry about paying the landlord because I'm not going to be on the hook for it.
Yeah.
There are some people that may try and take advantage of that situation. I think most people doing business, I like to think, are good people. It's something that needs to be taken into account of. And also, there's protection to the guarantor himself too in having these things done, because whether or not you're liable for something doesn't mean you're not going to have an expensive lawsuit at the end of the day.
Right.
So these types of things are going to, I think, create headaches for both sides, because this case can be overturned any day by the Court of Appeals or a subsequent decision. We're not exactly sure. If you're a guarantor, I want my obligations to be very clear so I can act accordingly, because even though I know I'm in the right, I'm not liable for this, there could still be a very long litigation that takes a lot of time, a lot of money, and litigation for a lot of people, could really eat your kishkas out and create like a real personal strain on your life. So there is a benefit to everyone about making sure your contract is clear and that you know what you're guaranteeing and what you're not, and so everyone's on the same page. In life, there are so few guarantees. You really want to make sure that your commercial guarantee is one of those surefire things.